The Bulldog on your couch survived two extinction events. The first was caused by people who hated the breed. The second was caused by people who loved it. And by the end of this story, you'll understand why many Bulldogs today can't even be born naturally. This has to be the most jaw-dropping transformation any animal has ever pulled off. Really, I'm not just being dramatic. It's the kind of story you only find in history books. Picture the dog snoring away on your couch, the one who grumbles like a lawnmower and needs a breather after every flight of stairs. That dog? It survived 2 brushes with extinction, spaced out over 4 centuries. The second time, the danger came from the very people who adored it. Let's dig in. We're heading back to 16th century England, and honestly, the history's awful before it gets any better. Bull baiting. If you think of it as sport, forget what you know. This was woven into English life. Villages had their own rings for it. Butchers had to bait their bulls before slaughter. People believed it made the meat taste better, and yes, that was written down as standard practice. If you sold beef, your bull had to face a dog first. The dog for the job, the original Bulldog, was nothing like the chubby, couch-loving pooch you know today. It looked far more like a mastiff, tall, muscular, built for raw power. Its entire body was a toolkit for one purpose: facing a bull. Low center of gravity meant dodging horns. A stubby, upturned nose let the dog breathe while locked onto a bull's nose. That jaw? It clamped tight under crazy force, and the pain tolerance was unreal. A 2-ton bull launching them into the air was just another day. Seriously, these Bulldogs were athletes, intimidating ones. Then, 1835 changed everything. The Cruelty to Animals Act passed. Bull baiting was banned. Overnight, Bulldogs were out of a job. One pigfigs called the breed the incarnation of ferocity. Their reputation? Toxic. Their owners? Mostly working class, not exactly people the Victorian elite wanted to mingle with. British Field Sports even published an editorial calling for Bulldogs to go extinct, describing them as fit only for barbaric purposes. That was extinction threat number 1. Society basically looked at Bulldogs and decided they shouldn't exist. But here's where it turns. A handful of breeders pushed back. History doesn't remember most of their names, but we know Bill George, his London kennel, Canine Castle, was ground zero for quietly reinventing Bulldogs as companion dogs, which sounded crazy at the time. These folks got creative. They crossed Bulldogs with other breeds, especially pugs, to tame their temperament, shrink their size, and make them fit for a world that didn't want them. They were basically running a Bulldog PR campaign. Then came 1859, the first formal dog show in Newcastle. The Bulldog Club of America says those dog shows saved the breed. Suddenly, breeders had a reason to keep at it. Bulldogs shifted from fighters to companions and show dogs. The middle class started to admire them instead of fear them. By 1864, the first Bulldog Club was formed under R.S. Rockstro, with the motto, "Hold fast." You couldn't write a slogan more fitting or ironic. Jump ahead to 1877. Bulldogs compete at Westminster. By 1886, breed gets full recognition. By 1888, Robinson Crusoe wins as the first breed champion. In 50 years, Bulldogs flipped from ferocity incarnate to show champions. That's not a glow-up. That's a total personality overhaul under massive pressure. But things get messy. Saving the Bulldog had consequences nobody saw coming. Once dog shows took over, breeders focused on looks: bigger heads, flatter faces, more wrinkles, heavier bodies, shorter legs. The Bulldog's athletic build gave way to a shape made to win ribbons, not wrestle bulls. The nose got shorter and shorter again. The body grew rounder, legs shrunk, and the head ballooned. Now we hit extinction threat number 2. This one's not sudden. It's slow and still happening. In 2016, UC Davis researchers published a DNA study, the first broad genetic sweep of English Bulldogs. They tested over 100 Bulldogs and dozens more, brought in for health reasons. The results? Not great. Decades of selective breeding squeezed the Bulldog gene pool so tight that improving their health from within their breed isn't just tough, it's almost impossible without bringing in outside genetics. Dr. Niels Pedersen, the lead researcher, flat out said that efforts to make Bulldogs cuter, like rarer coat colors, smaller bodies, more wrinkles, actually make things worse genetically. So chasing that cuter look dug Bulldogs further into a genetic hole. Then in 2022, the UK's Royal Veterinary College published the Vet Compass study, combing through records from almost 1 million dogs, comparing over 2,000 Bulldogs to over 20,000 other dogs. The findings were harsh. English Bulldogs had more than double the odds of developing at least one disorder. Risk was higher for 24 out of the 43 conditions tracked: skin fold dermatitis, cherry eye, breathing problems. The list doesn't end. The average Bulldog lives just over 8 years, compared to the 12 to 14 years most medium to large breeds get. There's a detail here that stops people in their tracks. Most English Bulldogs can't be born naturally anymore. That same breeding that made their heads bigger and bodies rounder also made their heads so big they won't fit through the birth canal. About 80% of Bulldog litters are now delivered by C-section. The animal that once stared down a bull now needs surgery just to enter the world. This is extinction threat number 2. Not a one-off moment like 1835, a slow build-up of well-meaning decisions made by folks who love the breed, every generation picking for the look they found cutest, until the real cost landed on the dog. Here's why this matters. The story isn't finished. There are breeders and researchers working right now on projects to create a healthier Bulldog. Breeding programs in Europe and the UK are bringing back more moderate features: longer snouts, smaller heads, better airways. Dogs that can breathe, sleep, and someday, hopefully, give birth without surgery. The Netherlands already bans Bulldog breeding that doesn't meet their health standards. Other countries are paying close attention. Bulldogs aren't doomed, but their community faces the same question those Victorian breeders faced. Which matters more, the look or the dog beneath it? Those first breeders chose the dog. They brought in other breeds, changed appearances, took heat from purists, and saved Bulldogs. So here's what the Bulldog world has to ask again. Will history repeat itself? If you're here watching this channel, you clearly love Bulldogs. Knowing all this isn't depressing, it's inspiring. Every time Bulldogs face extinction, someone who loves them digs in and fights. That's real Bulldog spirit. Stubborn, loyal, never backing down. Stick with us if you want to keep digging deeper. Every video here is real history, real science, no fluff. Next up, we're diving inside the Bulldog's body. A full breakdown of what selective breeding actually did, what your dog deals with, and what you can do about it. That one will change how you see every vet visit, I promise.